Welcome, welcome, welcome. Today is Friday, September 12th, 2025, and we'd like to thank you for joining us for another Friday briefing um, with L7 Solutions. I want to remind you that the chat is available during the live presentation. If you have any questions, feel free to put them in the chat, and we will be happy to answer them. Um, but what we're going to do is we're going to hop into what we have going for you today. Today, what we're going to be talking about are the 10 essential questions every small business owner must ask when choosing an MSP. Um, actually, I think we've got about 12 for you. We threw in a couple of extra there. But that's something that we really have to take a look at. We have to look at um, we have to look at when you're trying to make a decision to choose an MSP. You have to find someone who fits with your process, with your thinking, with the way that you like your business to be. Um, I think too, what happens is that we've gotten so used to um, the old, I'm going to call it the old-fashioned way of doing things where, okay, it breaks, and now we call someone. They come in and they fix it, maybe, or they replace it, and we wait until it breaks again. And, that's a method that is um, not really a great way to do things with the speed and how we operate businesses nowadays. We need teams, we need MSPs, managed service providers who are proactive. There are tons of us out there, okay? But you have to do your due diligence in choosing those those MSPs that are proactive, okay? Are they keeping up with uh, the changing terms of, say, your operating systems in the way that your operating system, because operating systems, whether it be server, whether it be workstations, they expire. And so is your MSP making sure that you're meeting those requirements so that you continue to get those security updates? Or are they just letting it ride because, things have been going smoothly, we haven't had any problems. I don't want to shake it up. No, no, because the thing is that it doesn't change the hackers, the bad guys who's ever out there, and they want to do damage to your networks, and believe it that they're out there. I don't care if you're a small network, if you only have 10 people, you're the easy target. You're the easy target. They're out there trying to do damage, trying to get information, trying to make someone click on the wrong thing so they can say, hand me 20 grand, hand me 50 grand, hand me 100 grand. That's not what we want. But the MSP is there to help keep that type of thing from happening. Okay, we're gonna hold on just 1 second here. Let me get our next slide up. So, what services do you offer? Okay, so that's a question that you should be asking your MSP. Nowadays, you need to make sure that they are offering things like data backup and recovery. Okay, not just backup, but the recovery portion as well. Managing your network, managing the internal, the ensures reliable connectivity and optimal performance, okay, of your internal network. Offering cybersecurity. You have to have cybersecurity nowadays. You have to have cybersecurity. Cloud management. So if your items are going to go into the cloud, and hopefully that's where you're moving things because, folks, that's where it's going. Okay. I know some of us have this fear of putting information in the cloud. Well, most of the companies that you're working with, Notice that their applications are now cloud-based. They're going to the cloud. And you can do that as well and do it in a safe manner, but it's typically going to require an MSP who's willing to lead you on that path and help you get there. Um, an MSP is going to hopefully provide IT consulting, okay, provide you with the guidance that you need to deal with everything that's going on in, as they say, the digital landscape of today. And a technical help desk, okay, a team that you can call and say, hey, I'm having a problem with this. And you need to know how that team works, and that team needs to know you. So if you say, hey, this is Jim from Smith and Company, well, well, they're going to know that when Smith and Company calls, this is the way Smith and Company's network is set up, and these are the applications that they typically run, and maybe these are some of the little issues that they run into on occasion, and these are the resolutions. Okay, so you need to make sure that you are working with a company that has that type of structure in place. What's your experience in our industry? So you also want to get with a company that has experience in your industry. Now, it's not always necessary that they have specific experience in your industry specifically, okay? But if they deal with, uh, let's say your wealth management, but they've dealt with other financial type of entities, that's good. That's good because they understand that industry to an extent. And remember, they're not writing your software. Okay, so an MSP is not writing your software. They're not changing your software, developing your software. If so, they're a software development company. They're not an MSP. So when it comes down to dealing with things like your software, you're going to have that support typically with that software company, but your MSP is going to be that middleman, okay, or that middle person who actually gets there and they do the communication and help resolve the issues and talk with the software company to say, hey, this is how things are set up. This is the issue that they're experiencing, and the software company says, oh, okay, we know what may be the problem. We need to do this, this, and this. Okay. So now, why is it the industry experience matters? It's understanding of industry specific regulations and compliance. Folks, you've got to you have to pay attention to the compliance and the governance nowadays. Okay. Also, knowledge of common challenges and solutions. Okay. That says it right there. Establish best practices for your sector, and relevant case studies and proven track record help to give that warm and cozy feeling that they know what's going on in your business. S- Someone like with L7 Solutions, we've been around for since 2001. So that's as it says here, is over 2 decades of experience. And so in that 2 decades, we've dealt with many different industries. Now, we do have our specialties, law firms, CPA, accounting, financial type industries, construction, and so on, medical. But we can and we do have other verticals that we excel in and do well in for our customers. So, can you provide a case study? Okay, so that's something that you also want to ask of your MSP. You want them to be able to provide some sort of case study for you. So, of how they've helped another company, preferably in your field, in your vertical. So, what to look for? So, similar business size and industry, specific challenges addressed, measurable results achieved, and a timeline and implementation process. So basically, you want to say, okay, you worked with another CPA firm and they were having this issue with Pro Series. And what you ended up doing is you managed to get Pro Series in the cloud for them, allowing them access from multiple locations without having to be in the office. And it took you um, a month to get that done. Okay, so that gives you all of those different things, and it tells you, and so your MSP should be able to do those things for you. So red flags to look for, vague and general examples, inability to provide references, and no measurable outcomes. Now, that doesn't mean that the MSP is bad. Uh, it may mean that they haven't been around for a long time. Doesn't mean that they don't have talent, okay? But you have to do what's best for your business. So if you want to go with a seasoned, experienced MSP, you have to make sure that they've had that longevity out there and they're not here today, gone tomorrow. Make sure that they're not the one and two man show. You want an MSP that has a team, has a sales team, has a management team, has a technical team, has a project team, and so on. All these different teams, a security team. Okay, so when you come with a company like L7 Solutions, we've got that. We've got that, and so we make sure that that you are with an MSP that covers all the bases. Okay, is there an SLA? Okay, some sort of service level agreement. As it says here, that's your safety net. Okay, so the SLA is basically, for those of you who may not know, is a formal contract. I'm sure most of you who are business people, you know, but it's a formal contract outlining the expected service standards, the response times, the performance metrics that the MSP commits to delivering to you and to your business. Okay, so in our proposal that we give to a customer, it has our SLA. Okay, what you can expect if you call in with a critical situation, what you can expect if you call with a high level, medium, low situation. We have that we offer and that all of our customers know, and they know that we abide by that. And realistically, most times for us, we're operating well above that SLA. So if it's say for instance a 1 hour on that particular issue, we're typically on that within 5 minutes. So it becomes something that for us, we like to exceed our SLA. We like to do much better than what the SLA says. And the SLA, trust me, is a is a great one in the sense of what it offers in time according to the different levels that the customer chooses. Okay, so the customer chooses if it's a high or if it's a critical. Now, we like to help you understand the difference because, you don't want to be the boy who cried wolf and say, hey, this is a critical and my um, P key on my keyboard's not pressing down. Well, that's not a critical. That's definitely not a critical. That's I need a new keyboard. Okay, so or maybe I shouldn't have spilled Coke on my keyboard. So critical importance. So SLAs establish clear expectations for emergency handling, uptime guarantees, and specific commitments regarding service delivery and support. Question number 5 that you might want to ask is how do you handle security and compliance? Well, um, comprehensive security measures, which is implementation of robust security protocols, including firewalls, intrusion detection systems, and regular security audits. We do all of that. We do all of that here at L7 Solutions. And your MSP, whoever that may be, should be doing the same thing. Okay? It's important that the equipment is in there that they are um, very good at managing. It's not that, listen, we can manage almost any firewall, but we know and we've tested certain firewalls and we know what works well and what allows us to do our best management. Uh, but there are places that we have different firewalls than we normally manage out there. But we typically like to try and get customers into a firewall or some sort of or the devices that we use on a regular basis that helps to keep everything across the board nice and unified, and it also helps the technicians within the MSP that you choose to know the devices much better. So compliance management. So assistance with regulatory requirements such as HIPAA, PCI, and GDPR to ensure your business meets industry standards. This is a must. This is not up for negotiation nowadays. Okay, so there must be compliance management, proactive monitoring, continuous monitoring tools detect potential security issues before they escalate. Okay, we offer 24/7 security. It's not an offer, it's something that's done with every client. Doesn't matter which plan that you're on with us. It's done for every client because we're not going to sleep on your network if there is something going on at 2 a.m. in the morning. We're going to get an alert. Okay, our security team will get an alert and we will act on that because our job as your MSP is to be proactive and not reactive. The problem is nowadays we've got a lot of companies out there that rely on being reactive versus proactive, and that doesn't serve your business well. You want an MSP who looks ahead, and they can't look ahead if they're waiting for something to happen. Okay? So you want someone who looks ahead so they can drive the success of your business even more. Employee training, okay? Employee training, you want an MSP that has tools in place or people in place to help train your users. Things like briefings that we do here at L7 Solutions, or working with companies to train users on how to spot things like phishing, how to spot things like ransomware, those things that we don't want to click on in our emails that we get that say, hey, you want a trip to Hawaii, just click here. You have 24 hours to respond. So incidents response plan. So developed and maintained plans to quickly address security breaches, compliance issues when they arise. And so what that's saying is that at some point, something will happen. Okay. Now, hopefully your MSP has layers of security built in to keep whatever happening uh, down to a minimum. I know that's what we do. But not every MSP is the same. They may have layers of security, but it may be one or two layers of security, and that may be fine for most. We do try and go a little extra to make sure that our customers are well protected because it is a dangerous world out there. It really is. When it comes to cybersecurity, there's a lot that can happen, and I know it's hard to believe, and many businesses say it's never going to happen to me, but there is a lot that can happen, so you have to be prepared. So, knowing the pricing structure, there has to be customized solutions, so pricing tailored to your specific needs, considering the organization size, IT, system complexity, and required service range. Also, managed service model. Is it a monthly subscription? of fees covering comprehensive IT support and management services for predictable budgeting. And direct consultation. Contact providers directly to discuss requirements and receive customized quotes based on your unique situation. And obviously, as we spoke about before, an SLA integration. Now, I opened with describing what's known as a break fix type of environment. That's not what we at L7 Solutions do. We offer a managed services model, okay? And that model provides a situation in which you know what your bill is going to be every month. So we're not, your bill's not fluctuating because, oh, we spent 12 hours at your place this month, which you only pay really for 5 hours. So we got to tack on some extra fees for those extra 7 hours. Well, no, that's not how we do it. You have one bill. We provide all of the services. We monitor 24/7. So we're really working 24/7, one way or another for you. Okay. And so what we're doing is we're making sure that you are squeezing every bit of that out of us every month. So whatever your particular bill is, you know that for the next 12 months, 2 years, 30, or 3 years, uh, of whatever your contract is that you sign, that's what your bill's going to be. It's not going to be a penny more, penny less. That's what your bill is going to be. Now, if you have projects, if you have other, any MSP is going to, charge extra for those things. Okay, but your standard bill, you can plan it every month. And that's comforting for a lot of business owners. It's definitely comforting for your CFOs. Ask those CFOs if they would prefer to have that fixed monthly bill so they know how to budget that every month or for each year. They absolutely would want to have that. So beware of providers who can't provide clear pricing information up front. Okay, those hidden fees and unclear billing practices, they're red flags and they'll get you. They'll get you in the end. So how do you manage and monitor the systems? So effective system management and monitoring are the backbone of reliable IT operations. An MSP should provide comprehensive oversight that prevents problems before they impact your business, which is what I was discussing before. So there should be remote monitoring, and there should be remote monitoring tools and management tools that allow them to get in. Now, these are all things that L7 Solutions has. Now, other MSPs, they may have some, they may have all of these, but I won't say that they won't have any of them because at the very least, they're going to have some sort of antivirus and some sort of remote management nowadays. But not all are created equal. So these are questions that you need to ask. Um, so automated alerts. So instant notifications for anomalies that are happening on your network or with pieces of equipment within your network. Regular maintenance. Are they doing the patching, the updates, okay, of your servers, of your workstations? Okay, you want to make sure that those things are being taken care of. Network management. So, are they monitoring the performance of your network? Making sure everything's moving quickly, no bottlenecks, no nothing that could possibly slow the network down. They need to be on top of that 24/7, not just when, you're at the office, but 24/7. Backup and recovery. If something does happen, you lose a file, server goes down, server needs to be replaced, okay? Can they give you a backup of the data that may have been lost, so to speak? Um, and how long does it take them to recover that? So when we bring a client on, from the day that we start doing our backups, you will have those backups from the beginning. So it's not something where, oh, we're only keeping it for 30 days and then we start wiping it clean. No, it's not like that. You're going to have some of those backups, the more crucial backups, um, basically from the beginning. So security monitoring, continuous threat detection and vulnerability assessments um, that help protect against cyber attacks. Are they doing that? So you want to make sure that your MSP uh, is providing that service. And like I said, not all MSPs will provide all of these. L7 does. L7 Solutions does. Not all MSPs don't, and it doesn't make them a bad MSP, but it may make them incomplete for what you need and what you expect. So what is their own boarding process? Okay, so typically there's going to be an initial consultation, an assessment, and an evaluation. So that's where they go through your current systems, networks, and security measures and identify improvements and risk. Customized plan development, where they start building out their plan for it. Implementation, installing any of their software, tools, so on, to start taking over the network. And then training and support. So staff training on new systems, processes, maybe you're accessing files differently and so on. But that training is ongoing. Okay. It's ongoing throughout, especially the first few months, if something is extremely different. And so they have people in place to help provide that support. And then there are regular check-ins. Hopefully, folks, you're not getting with an MSP that says, okay, hey, I signed you. Bye now. Because, believe it or not, there are some that are out there like that. You get them signed, and then next thing you know, you don't hear from them much often. Okay, so 9 and 10, technology trends and exit strategy. So how do you stay up to date with technology? Yeah, listen, for L7, our techs, our chief of technology, there's continuous education and certifications going on. Um, and there are industry conferences that we watch, that we go to. This is a constant learning process. Technology is changing so quickly, you have to stay abreast of it. AI is the big thing now. So we stay on top of it, especially with AI and implementing AI for customers. And any MSP should be doing that. And I'm friends with many members of MSPs around the nation, and I know that a lot of them are looking at the AI and new technology as things are rolling out. So what happens if we decide to part ways? Hopefully that never happens. Hopefully that never happens. But if it does, an MSP should be professional. I mean, there are times that you come across MSPs and you have to recognize who you're dealing with. There are times you come across MSPs who may not be professional, but in certain cases, in most cases, MSPs are going to be professional. The data ownership and the transfer procedures are done. I mean, listen, the data is yours anyway. So it gets transferred to whoever you choose to handle your information. And then there's a transition support duration, which is basically there's overlapping time where the new and the old work together. And then there's contractual obligations and terminations and terms and so on, and then the documentation handover process where the new documentation is handed over. So question number 11, what is the disaster recovery plan? So there has to be some sort of a disaster recovery plan. So very quickly here, a disaster recovery planning, the data backup strategy, so how the information is being backed up, the incidents response team, so a team to act on that backup, assessment and communication. Okay, what happened? What do we actually need to do here? And what recovery process do we need to take? Then there's the system restoration. And before we allow people back in, we've got to test, we've got to validate, make sure things are good, check with a particular file, maybe have one person do that testing for us. and work with them in that. And then there's continuous improvement. Okay, how did this even happen? How can we make it better so it doesn't happen again? So that's the process that your MSP should be taking. It's a business. It's a business, and there are going to be things that somehow don't work or don't happen the way we expect, but we need to be able to regroup, redevelop, and reestablish communication and success with the process that we have going. Now, number 12, how will you communicate with this? Well, the way L7 does it is we have dedicated account managers. We do regular check-ins, so we do it on a monthly or quarterly basis. It depends on what the customer prefers, but we like to do monthly. We like to do those monthly account reviews, see what's going on, see if there are any new things that you'd like to have implemented. Uh, but it keeps you involved, keeps you involved in the process of how we're managing your IT. And listen, we want to know, are we doing a good job? Let us know. Okay, you need to let your MSP, and if your MSP is not doing an account review with you, you need to talk to them. Start planning it yourself, but they need to be doing an account review with you. Help desk system. So, is there a help desk system? Are there client portals? Okay, we have all of that. Text messaging, client portals, phone numbers, dedicated account managers that can be called, a help desk system that that dishes off to your specific technical manager for your particular company. So all of those things your MSP should be doing for you. Okay, they should be doing this in a way that makes you sleep well at night and feel comfortable about who's managing your company. Um, Now, L7 Solutions employs multiple communication channels, including email, phone support, and regular performance reports to ensure clients remain informed and supported throughout their partnership. So, these are 12 questions that hopefully you can, as you're looking for an MSP, maybe ask those questions, find out, um, are they doing this? And like I said, not everybody's going to be doing all of these things. Okay, we happen to do all of these things, and I'm sure there are others that are out there, but this is a pretty vast array of items to be done, and uh, and so it's important that when you're evaluating an MSP, realize what's being put into how they manage your company from a technology standpoint. Um, it's really really important that you understand that and that you evaluate that as you choose, because I know a lot of times we look at it and we start deciding on price. Oh, this one's $85, this one's $100, this one's $125. Listen, we're the fixed rate. You know what you get, that's what you're going to pay every month, no matter how much you call us during your contract time. um, but when you start looking at it as a just an hourly fee, you start minimalizing um, uh, your business to an extent. So with that, I'm going to let you go. My name's Ken Tucker, L7 Solutions. Uh, we do this each Friday. Feel free to reach out to us at www.l7solutions.com. You can reach out to me at ktucker@l7solutions.com, or you can give us a call at area code 954 573 1300. But with that, I am going to say have a wonderful, wonderful weekend, uh, and we look forward to seeing you next Friday.